Hey everyone, this is Kevin from thechesswebsite.com, and today we're going to be starting a two-part series on common mating patterns. And I wanted to do this series because I know when I was learning chess and I would go back and study my games, there were so many missed opportunities I had because I was not familiar with some of these common mating patterns. And so that's why I wanted to start the series. As we go through, make sure that as you start to learn these different mating patterns that you do anything you can to reach one of these situations in a chess game, even if it takes sacrificing a queen and a rook, whatever you have to do to reach one of these, make sure that you do that, because obviously it's checkmate, so that's the point of the game. So we're going to go ahead and get into it, look at some of the most common ones, and then we're going to look at some situations in a game, how you can use that. So the first one we're going to look at is Anastasia's mate, and it looks like this. Basically, if you look at it, it's white's move. White can move knight to e7, and then the king can move. It does not matter where he moves. He can move to h7 or h8, and we'll just go ahead and put him on h8, and then we can bring our rook to h5, and it's checkmate. So let's go ahead and take a look at an example how we can use this in a real game. So let's go ahead and look at, let me pull it up here. Let's go ahead and look at this situation. If you want to go ahead and take a minute, pause it if you want to, and try to figure out what white's best move is and how he should proceed. Again, remember the mating pattern that we're trying to arrive at, and do anything you can to get to that. So, first thing we're going to do, hopefully you found it, is knight to e7. The black king is forced to come to h8, and from here we can sacrifice our queen to h7. The only move he has, as you probably can see, is to capture on h7, and then we can bring our rook to h5, mating the black king. So in this example, we sacrificed our queen, but we checkmated the black king. So as you can tell, we take it simplistically and look at it, how it operates, and then we go a little bit in depth and see how it works in a real game. So let's go ahead and take a look at the next example. Go ahead and take a look at this example, and this is the back rank mate, and this is the most common mating pattern that you are going to see. Most chess players are familiar with it, but I wanted to cover it because it is probably one of the most often seen mating patterns that you will see. As you can see here, the black king is trapped on this back rank on the 8th rank, and white can come in with his rook to d8 and checkmate the king. There's nowhere for him to go. So let's take a look at this in a real life example and see how we can use this. So if you look at it here and it's white's move, what is white's best move? And again, keep in mind, do whatever it takes to reach one of those situations. So from here, white's best moves, you can probably tell, take a minute to pause if you need to, but it's queen to d8. Checking the black king cannot move because he would still be being attacked by the queen. The only move the black has is capturing the queen on d8, and then we can bring our rook to d8 capture, and it's checkmate via the back rank mate. So always keep this in mind. And the second thing you always want to make sure is that you're looking for this on your opponent's side as well. If he has a potential back rank mate against you, make sure that you do whatever it takes, even if it means sacrificing some of your pieces, to make sure that he doesn't do this to you. Because again, if he does it, it's checkmate, so you want to avoid this at all costs. So let's go ahead and take a look at the next one. Let's take a look at the next example, and that is the Blackburn Mate. And as you can see here, the Blackburn Mate is made possible from our bishop here attacking the king, this long diagonal being controlled by our other bishop, and our knight defending this bishop. And there's a few things that always need to be in place for this to work. First thing, we need the black king to be castled on the king side. The second thing, we need the rook that's castled on king side, or I guess it could be the other rook, to be on f8. If he's not there, it's going to have an escape route for the king to move. Next, you need to have your bishops on the long diagonals. Bishops work really well on the long diagonals, and this is no exception in the Blackburn Mate. You want your diagonals controlling these long diagonals, a1 to h8 and b1 to h7. Last thing you need a knight on g5. He's going to protect everything and make sure everything runs smoothly. As you can see, this is checkmate. Let's take a look at it in a real life example here. And from here, take a minute and pause. Tell me what you think is the best move. And hopefully you came up with the Nice little sacrifice. Queen takes h5. Now black does have a few options here. His worst option is going to take the queen sacrifice. White can now bring his bishop to h7, and that's going to be checkmate. Black can do two moves to try to make sure that it's not checkmate. First one he can do is f6. We can come queen takes g6. He can bring his queen to g7. We can move our queen to h7 check. He has to take with his queen. He can't move his king. We can recapture with our bishop on h7. He is forced to move his king. We'll just put him on h8. We can now capture this knight on e6, attacking this rook on f8. Black has to worry about a few things. If he takes our bishop, we can take his rook on f8. If he ever gets this rook off this f-file, we can bring our bishop to f6. So we have a lot of different fighting opportunities. This all came about because we noticed the Blackburn's mate, and we executed the very beginning with what looked like a queen sacrifice, but if black took that queen, he would lose. So if he doesn't know the mate and he takes it, we're going to win, but if he doesn't, we're going to gain a lot of material. So this is another way that you can notice a mating pattern and benefit from it. So the last example we're going to look at in part 1 of our mating pattern series is the Boden's mate. As you can tell from here, it's a very powerful attack from the two bishops against your opponent's king. As you can see, although it doesn't look like the bishops are doing much, the white king has nowhere to go and they're checkmated. So let's take a look at a real life example of how this would work in a chess game. If you look at this example and you didn't know anything about Boden's mate, you may think that white has a better game. He's up in material, he has good center control, everything looks good. Well, white doesn't know that we know is that he's very susceptible to the Boden's mate. So it's black's move. Where should black move? And hopefully you came up with queen takes c3. Now let's look at white's options. He can't move his king to c2, and he can't move his king to b1 because of our bishop on f5 here. His only move is to take our queen. And like I said, a lot of times you may have to sacrifice a queen and a rook or a knight, whatever it takes to come to one of these places in a chess game, do it. Because from here, we can bring our bishop to a3, and it's checkmate. We have Boden's mate. So if you look at it before, you may not even notice, but now that you've watched this video, these are just a few examples that you may see throughout your chess game that you can always look for. Even when things may be looking down, as long as you know these different mating opportunities, you'll have a very good chance of winning a lot of different games that you may not have won before. Thanks for checking out the video. Hope you learned something. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. And also, if you haven't checked out the website, or if you haven't checked it out in a while, please visit www.thechesswebsite.com. Put a lot of good stuff on that website, so definitely make sure and you check it out. Everyone, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next video.